Now, as part of this takeover, the Trump administration says the U.S. will now oversee Venezuela's oil reserves, the largest in the world. The White House now counting on American companies to invest billions into rebuilding the country's oil industry.
All right, we want to bring in our chief business correspondent, Taylor Young. Taylor, removing the politics from the situation, because we know there's a lot of that. What does this oil takeover actually mean for us Americans?
So there are a lot of ifs here. This is not a turning of the dial and then boom, drilling starts and then prices at the pump across the U.S. go down. This is a very complicated thing that's happening, right? So we are talking about an overseas oil system that energy experts are calling old, outdated, and deteriorated. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done here. So there would have to be a U.S. company or companies willing to take on that risk and massive investment to rebuild it. Now, Trump himself used the word billions to describe what kind of investment is needed here to essentially rebuild this entire system. And even if that does happen, a lot needs to go right before that oil becomes a reliable enough supply to influence global markets. And look, when we are just 3 days into this, so of course there are no guarantees right now, but the Trump administration clearly sees potential here. And if everything were to go right, I mean, yes, gas prices could theoretically drop here in the U.S., but we are talking about a long timeline, years potentially.
Okay, so with so much relying on those U.S. companies, as the president has said, to step up, does that come with any risk, Taylor?
It absolutely does. So on top of dealing with a completely outdated system, which would mean high upfront costs, right, to even get in there in the first place, I mean, there's legal and political instability here. So that's just huge risks on top of there really not being any guaranteed return here. So those are two things. On top of that, Venezuela still owes U.S. oil companies, I mean, we're talking over $1 billion from past contracts. So there might be some hesitancy to even do business in this country. Now, what I will say on the flip side, what might intrigue companies is, again, Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserve in the world. So for a company to be the one to step up and make that investment, I mean, it could end up being extremely, they can make a lot of money, very, very profitable. But again, there are some risks here. As of 9:06 this morning, we have not seen a company kind of step forward, but we'll be looking out for that.
Yeah, so speaking of that, there's a lot up in the air still. What are experts looking at right now, and what should Americans be paying attention to?
Yeah, I think the headline that a lot of Americans should be looking out for is if a U.S. company, oil company, or companies step forward and take on this investment. After that, what does that investment look like? What does the timeline look like? Are we looking at years? But I think the biggest thing after we kind of see who, if that happens, is then who ultimately controls and manages this oil, right? Because that will kind of determine how the U.S. is impacted by this. Is it the U.S. controlling it? Is it Venezuela? Is it a bunch of companies that are, or countries that are kind of overseeing this? That, I think, is the real question moving forward. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on this, but until we get clarity on at least those 3 points, this is kind of all really up in the air right now.
Venezuela, a huge aid before Chavez, but then for the past 20 or so years has been much different, so we'll see what happens with the regime. Taylor, thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.